What's going on, everybody? This is Super Robot Ed, and today we have in front of you the Transformers Legacy United. I guess this is Leader Class Soundwave because it comes with the following. The G1 Universe Decepticon Rumble, which is a repaint of the Studio Series 86 Rumble, now in more G1 colors. We get G1 Universe Buzzsaw, which is a repaint of none other than the Laser Beak, which came with the Netflix Soundwave, which later came with the bridge set, slightly different color of red. And then finally we get the Ravage, and the Ravage this time around is pretty much the same, but just a more darker, more motif. And we're going to break this review down, and we're going to go kind of quickly because I don't want to spend like a million years on it. I'll say what I have to say about it. May not be good, but it is what it is. I know it's what collectors need and what we want. So we're going to pause for the cause, get everything set up, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. On the box, this is the Legends class, like alt mode all the way with the little things sticking up like that. So shouts out whoever put this box art together. Y'all are off the chain, but of course you can see the other 3 robots here and there, and they're correct, you know, looking, I guess, artwork. And here he is on the side. Clearly, again, I do believe this is the Legends class artwork. And we'll show the other side, which is basically the 40 years of Transformers. And then on the back, we get to see everything that they come with. And like I said before, it's a lot easier if we look at the box first, because that way we can see it. And of course, you can see everything there. So yeah, it does look good. Everything looks good so far. That's about it. Now we're going to start and break this down so we can get a preface of what's going on. First part of the review, we're going to be in the alt modes. We're going to do a comparison of the tapes and the tapes only and the accessories. Thereof, mostly is not going to really compare the accessories till we get the robot mode. Then we get the robot mode. Of course, we'll show off, you know, the robots together. The cassettes, as far as the sound waves, are going to be shown together, so that's going to be how it's broken down. But I did want to point out that the coloration on him is definitely not what we got here. These black guns, no, we didn't get any of that, and I think that's more gold. So that's just me. But yeah, let's go ahead straight into comparisons so we can do this review, because it's a Sunday and I would like to watch some football, and we'll always be back in 2 and 2. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and of course I forgot to show off the instructions for my instructions people, but here's the instructions for if you don't know. The other thing is this weapon, you know, which a lot of people use for Earthrise or Siege Megatron, as to denote the cannon. That's a darker shade of gray than the bridge set, and it's a little darker than that of the original Netflix version. And of course, every other version that came with every version of Soundwave. I'm only going to be comparing these to the Earthrise mold or the Netflix mold, and that's it. All right, we're going to put this away because we're really not going to see this anymore. All right, let's start with the cassettes. Now, first things first, let's start with the cassettes that you won't really notice the difference, and that is Ravage. So the one on the left is the United version, and one on the right is the Netflix version, and this is the Earth version with the Earth, you know, style head and things like that. So it's not the Siege versions, we're comparing just the Earth versions, and I'm not going to get the Siege version. All right, see, they're pretty much identical. I mean, you really can't tell the difference between the two, but when you turn them over, you'll notice where you can see where the gray is and the neck is there and everything like that, where, you know, on him it is all black. And I think that is kind of like, I don't know, you know, sometimes I think this is more toy, this is more animation. I mean, either way, all depends, man, on which Ravage you're going to keep, if you have the Ravage. Now, if you don't have the Netflix version, you're good, because this is going to pretty much service that. But if you do, well, you know, you could do comparisons there. So I'm going to put those to the side. Next are going to be the Rumbles. And of course, now, first things first, we're going to talk, you know, the river, whatever. G1, this is Rumble. And now this would be Frenzy. But since we're going with Rumble is blue and Frenzy is red, this is Frenzy. And this is now G1 Rumble, which is, you know, Frenzy's toy accurate colors. And as you can see here, Both of my original toys got messed up, but he has silver, although it looks to be a little bit more gold. He has gold. Mine got messed up a little bit in transit, and unfortunately I could not get another one. But we're really just showing that off. And then, of course, here we have the Studio Series 86 Rumble, which has the, more lighter guns. I had to take the silver off because I did chrome these out, but the chrome just got ugly, so I kind of cleaned it off. So yes, the guns are darker. The guns here are lighter. We're going to take those off. All right, we're back by Illegitimate Magic because of the fact that my backdrop fell. And as you can see here, the differences between the Rumbles. This is more of that lavender periwinkle color. And this is more the traditional, solid blue and black and, turquoise as well. Actually, I like both of them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's room for both of them, especially if you had a hard time picking this up. And you can see from the side. Now, I can't find my original Rumble and, the ones that really were kind of like the messed up version because they're deep. Because I keep putting stuff away, and as I keep putting stuff away, I kind of put it up. So, as you can see here, the difference is, like I said before, this is more of that dark black blue with the, darker solid blue. Like I said, toy accurate. So we're going to put these to the side. Here are the pile drivers. As you can see here, the pile drivers match the colors. As you see the robots, they match. Let's just put it that way. And now we're going to look at Laserbeak versus Gold. Buzzsaw, the gold one. As you can see here, this is the Laserbeak from the Netflix set. And how do I know? Because it has this nice little tramp stamp on the side. That's the only way that you can know. The product code is on the side of the Netflix version. It is not on the side of the bridge version. And of course, you can see here where everything is molded in this, the gold, and there's the cheaper gold, so that it doesn't, fall apart. As you can see here, instead of having gray legs, he's got black legs where he has gray. And if you wanted to see the differences with the bridge version, there isn't much of a difference between the two, except for maybe a slightly darker shade of red. And there is no tramp stamp on this side. That is it. Other than that, pretty much the deco is identical. So those are all of your cassettes right there. And some of the weapons fell, and they're tiny, so I don't want to lose the end. And we will come back to comparisons in their robotic modes. And then, of course, we'll be back in 2 and 2. And we'll start with the Soundwaves. All right, and we're back by YouTube Magic, and we have the Legacy United G1 Soundwave in his, cassette recording mode. And we're going to go over the details real quick. First things first, he has the uniformed orange, yellow type painting around the chest door now. And that matches the sides here. And they're a lot more of a substantially gold there. There is a tramp stamp here, which is a product code. It's very similar to that, to the one on the bridge set. The numbers aren't the same, but you can tell they probably used a version of the mold. I don't necessarily think they did a new version, but they probably did do something where it's not exactly the same as the first release for Netflix. And I think it has a lot to do with the plastic. Not that there was any real change like they did way back with the Seekers in the Chug days, which that's another video for another day. But no, it's just something where they did, so they didn't use the exact same plastic. And that's something that I can see only on that part. From the back, everything is the same. It's a darker shade of gray, like this really kind of like dullish gray. I really wish they had painted it white, kind of more like the animation, more brighter, but they didn't. And of course, Decepticon symbols embossed. The buttons are gray, kind of reminds me of the same gray they used on like the Autobot 5-pack. In the hand, it does feel a little light, but not much. We'll get to robot Molotov in a minute, but let's go ahead and compare him next with the first release of the Earth-style version of Soundwave, which is the Netflix version. Now mine, I did paint a little bit to try to fix it, so it's not going to be the same as it was, but you can see where the yellowing has taken place. And of course, you can see where it's starting to fade here a little bit, where the paint is as well. And one thing I will say about the original Soundwave that I like is, even though he did have that yellow door, it always gave me the effect of him creating the Energon cubes. I always thought that was cool. I think that's a touch a lot of people overlooked. But with the yellowing and the browning of the plastic, it does make him look like I had the Soundwave for 30 years. Now, the weapons on the back are not the original. These are the Siege weapons because they had the red stripe around them. And of course, I did paint a little red outline here on the arms. Now, the blue on him is a little lighter, but it's also mixed in with that plastic. And now that is starting to turn a different shade of blue. So it does give him that two-tone look. It may not show up on camera, but you can see it here. And underneath, of course, you can see where the more of the yellowing is. I mean, for a lot of people, I'll get to that at the end, but you can see here, it's, you know, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And the reason why I'm using these weapons is because of the time they had the red stripe. But in reality, he really should only have one red stripe, if y'all didn't know. Now, besides that, if this was a perfect Soundwave, he would be a lighter blue. This would be a darker blue. But this is not the darkest of blue. The next Soundwave we're going to compare him to is the bridge set. Now, my bias will kick in at any moment now, but I've got to tell you, I am a fan of the bridge set, because the bridge set to me, it just looks better. He also, like I said, he has a tramp stamp. Pretty much everything is the same, but when you get to the buttons here, they're more brighter, you know, and also the difference of feel. Yes, there's a difference. The paint on here makes him more smoother. Gives him a more robust look. This is where I made a mistake with the silver, and I'm going to fix that. I had an issue that I did with mine, and, you know, it almost makes me want to buy another one, but I have to think about it. We'll talk about it at the end of the video, but as you can see here, you know, very different. He's got silver on the back. He's got more paint. He's an even darker blue than this guy. And then, of course, a darker, even more darker blue than this guy. And you may not be able to see it right off the bat, but it is darker here. You know, like some episodes, I think this would have benefited from a more like white paint. That would be like the ultimate Soundwave. But like I said before, we'll probably get that when they do the 86 version. But as you can see here, both of them have very similar details. The only difference is I have the SL15 upgrade on him that I took off of this Soundwave. And like I said, the materials are a bit brighter here and here, where these are more of a, you know, darker gray. This, of course, the gun has the little extra red missiles painted in. But as again, he has one stripe painted here on the gun where he doesn't. And I had to go back and look, and it's very hard to say, but both of them are almost about accurate. And then we're going to turn it back around to the front. As you can see here, again, the crispiness in the brightness here versus where it's not. There's also yellow here where there's not yellow on this one, and there's not yellow on the other one either. Yeah, it's just a different feeling material. Like, this feels much smoother on the bridge. A little rougher, not bad. It just, you know, this is more of a premium paint, but this paint can scuff, where this might actually hold up against the test of time. Yeah, minus all of those extra paint apps. I mean, so far so good. I'm kind of with this one, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's just me as far as not so much economical, but just so much of what you get with him, but you still need a laser beak. And that's the story for another day. So, if I had my choice, if I did not have a Soundwave so far as just if I only needed Soundwave, yeah, I'd definitely go with the United version. But if I really wanted that laser beak and I couldn't get laser beak or something like that, and I just wanted to have that basically Takara versus Hasbro, I would go with this. Now, we're going to save more of that for the next part of the review. Now we're going to get all these things into robot mode. And oh yeah, one more for the bonus. Everybody could see here with Blaster. Let's get a good picture with Blaster there, as you can see. And, you know, the Studio Series 86, and this is the Legacy United. You know, hey, they look well together. Let's get a good shot of that. All right, we'll be back in 2 and 2 with the robot modes, and then we can sum it up really quick. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and we have all of the cassettes in their robot modes. So we're going to point out which cassettes are which, so we know what we're dealing with. First, this is the Rumble from the United Soundwave set. This is the Ravage from that set as well. And of course, this is Buzzsaw. Now, we're going to start with the Ravages first. That way you can get a better idea of what you're dealing with. So if you have the Netflix Ravage, you'll notice that he has gray legs instead of, and it's going to be really hard for me to show them off here, and I'll do my best. They're just weird, so forgive me. But as you can see here, this is the Netflix version because he has gray legs. And then the, see if I can get it better. The United version has black legs. Also, he has a silver in his mouth. You can barely see it where this doesn't. The top of the head is, back of the neck is gray while his is all black. From the front, I mean, he really can't really tell anything. From the sides, I mean, pretty much they are identical. I have to admit, I am kind of biased to the United version for just the all black motif. I think that's pretty cool. With the silver in his mouth. So I guess that's more toy accurate. So I guess I like the toy accurate version so far. So that's my version right there. We'll put those to the side. And we're really not going to compare Buzzsaw to Laserbeak because pretty much they're pretty much identical. But for the sake of comparison, we'll compare them with the Netflix version. And as you can see here, he's just now, this part of his body is gold, while this part of the body of the Laserbeak is red. That would note the other one as well. Then, of course, from the back where he has like the gray looking booster, now it's all black. This does feel a little bit cheaper than the Netflix version. It kind of, like I said, the bridge version does have that kind of like almost kind of flimsy feeling. And of course, the wings, where these would be silver and now gold. And they have like, you know, slightly different red, but they're pretty much the same. Decepticon symbol on the head. Everything's the same except Buzzsaw is just gold and has black legs, and he is red with a gray neck and gray feet, which they did not change on the bridge version either. They're just pretty much the same, but I don't know. I kind of like the deco on the Buzzsaw, except for this part right here. It's very loose. Other than that, though, it is pretty good. And then what we're going to do next is put the pile drivers on, and then we'll do the next comparison, and we'll take a short hot break. All right, 2 and 2. But before we go putting them on, let's compare the robot modes real quick. Now, in another world, this would definitely be Frenzy, and this would be Rumble. But since this is now the G1 universe Rumble, and this is now Frenzy, in the other universe, this is technically Rumble, because that's how he was in G1. So as you can see here, they're pretty much identical. The only difference is that he has a kind of that darker purplish purple with the blue. He's got a darker blue head, but they're pretty much the same through and through, except for the, the outside is different color. And of course, the guns on him are lighter, where the guns on him are grayer. Now we're going to compare him to the animation version of Rumble. That's why I said I do need another Rumble and Frenzy, because the paint, I had some paint issues with both of them, and I try my best to fix it, but it still looks kind of bad, and it just bothers me. So eventually, if I ever run across them at a decent price, I'll try to pick them up again. But in the meantime, now we're going to compare the two Rumbles, and I am very partial to this periwinkle purple version versus the colors here. I love this version. I love this paint job because it's the first time we actually got a very close to G1 accurate animation color over this being the toy. Basically, he still has kind of like that. The head is dark. It's just different. And of course, the guns were a little lighter, but not as light as the ones on Frenzy. But as you can see here, if I had my choice, yeah, I'm definitely still going with this Rumble all day. Now we'll put the pile drivers on, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and we get to see all three of the Rumble Frenzy mode with the pile drivers on. And pretty much their colors match each of the robots, and I think they look exquisite. So you can't go wrong there. So now we are done looking at the cassettes. And now after this, we're going to go ahead and do the Soundwaves, and of course now we'll always be back in 2 and 2. Let's bring everybody in just a little bit closer for the sake of the video. And yeah, they do look good together. This is great. Perfect shot, perfect shot, perfect shot. Yes, man, I tell you, boy, cassettes 2 and 2, baby. All right, and we're back by YouTube Magic, and we now have the Legacy United G1 Soundwave in this robot mode. Basically, we're not going to do the articulation that's been done already. We're just going to go over the materials here. Again, now he has a more of a standard kind of a mid-gray look. He's got a little bit more light piping on the eyes there. Still, it's too dark compared to the Netflix version. Pretty much he has the red stripe going through here, still has the same material. Basically, he is a darker blue all the way through. One pinstripe here on the gun, which that is not on the bridge version. The Netflix version, like I said before, he's sporting the siege weapons because at the time, like I said, we didn't know all these other Soundwaves were going to be coming out. Pretty much the door springs open. You can see here has a little bit of yellow there, and then of course here that is painted yellow. He is just nice. I mean, I kind of like him at first. I mean, maybe because I was seeing him under the dark drab light, but putting him under my light, he's not bad at all. So now we're going to compare him to the Netflix Soundwave, and now you can see right here, like I said, it's not going to be a fair comparison because of the modifications I had to make. But as you can see where there was no pinstripe here, I actually drew that in. These are the siege weapons. So he has 2 red stripes here. Now the red stripe on him is a lot brighter here. And it is in a little bit differently. They put the red stripe within the cannon, where the red stripe here is painted on the front of the barrel of it. So, but then again, if you had the weapons that came with the Netflix version, they were not painted at all. That was just something I did, and I don't know. I'm not going to go back and look for them. Now, again, the blue is darker on him, where the blue is a little lighter, and also the blue is changing due to the plastic issue. He has the lighter piping here on the head. But his silver is starting to fade here. The blue is starting to turn two-tone on the side. You may not be able to see it here, but he is. Even here from the top, as you can tell, there's a lot of that yellowing and things where his is not. Now, will this yellow? Probably not, because like I said, this is supposed to be a pandemic issue with chemicals and things of that nature. And, I mean, one of the worst things you could do in a chemical plant is use chemicals that would mess up your batch and bath. That's one of the things you don't do. I don't know. My dad used to work in the chemical plant as a manager. My dad was a chemist with a micro. My dad was a chemist. Okay, his minor was his minor was chemistry. His major was microbiology. Yeah, my dad was really smart. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of like I said before. It's one of those things where I do like the light piping on the head, but this is just more uniform. And I mean, it's less maintenance because you're going to have to put a red stripe here somewhere. There's no red stripe that comes with the Netflix version. The only thing that I will miss is the yellow door, because like I said before, Soundwave's like chest was like a computer screen, all kind of stuff, CAD drawings. He shoots out the energon cues, and his chest would glow, and that's why I always did prefer that. I thought it was different. But the United version does give you a nice cleaner motif. Now we're going to bring in and do a comparison with the bridge version. Now, this is where, it's going to kind of, go through a lot here. We're going to move him to the side for a second. And now we're going to compare these two. Now, you could say that between the two, these two were designed from each other. Now, I did mess up the head here, so I had to kind of paint him back to kind of silver. He does have the red stripe this time. It is on the inner of the barrel, just like here. But I noticed they pushed it back along here. it's not quite the same. So yeah, there's some differences. Let's start with the shoulder cannon here. The shoulder cannon, it's interesting how they chose to place the paint. Like they put the paint on the inner rim, yet they put it on the back here, which is interesting. And then of course, the bridge version has the missiles painted, while the United version doesn't, which is again interesting. But he has one stripe. Oops. We're gonna be doing a lot of editing. I'm probably gonna start editing this tomorrow. I don't think I'm ready to finish editing this video. So we'll put the weapons back here. Next, we'll show off the gun here. All right, so as you can see here, the gun has a red stripe on the United version, while the bridge version does not. But the bridge version does have the barrel painted silver. That I find interesting. Like I said before, in the cartoon, I gotta go back and look at it, but I think he didn't really have a red stripe with the gun, just with the one red stripe on the barrel of the shoulder weapon. So yeah, that's it right there. And then we'll go ahead and put those perspective weapons back in their correct robots. The reason why I didn't compare with my Netflix, because those are siege weapons that I had actually painted. I gotta say that comparison just kind of wouldn't be fair. But as you can see here, one of the biggest things that I like about the bridge version is the silver paint on the feet. The brighter plastic of the legs, giving him more closer to that white look that he had. The arms are painted silver, whereas opposed to them just being painted gray, as you can see here. Now, at least they both had the red stripe, which is a good thing. The other thing is the arms are now painted a little more with that extra red spot on there, while he doesn't. The buttons on the front are now a brighter, more silver chrome look, where these are kind of more matted and gray. The legs themselves are a little brighter here. These are more matte gray, kind of like, again, the United 5-pack, where this is more of a silver. Let's see, what else did they do here? The blue on him is the darkest compared to this one. The blue is a little bit lighter. The actual play buttons, when you put them into the cassette mode, are more chromed out, where these are just a flat gray. This is painted with a very smooth silver, and this is more of a just gray. What else here? Again, even at the top, the brighter plastics where they are versus the duller color plastics here. Let's see. There is that silver. And then, of course, the biggest telltale sign that I really do like this Soundwave more is the SL15 arm upgrades, which I do have another set that belongs to Sound Blaster. And when if they ever make a correct Sound Blaster and they fit, I will use those. I just think it gives him a complete look. The chest door itself is about identical. I mean, I can't really see much of a difference other than the way that the Decepticon logo is templed. This one is a kind of more purpley Decepticon symbol, and this one kind of looks more of the bluish variety. It's actually brighter because of the outline. The chest door is not painted here, where the blue part is, where this is yellow. That's about it. Other than that, the head sculpt, like I said, mine is painted, to kind of match the silver, because I messed up on something, so I got it as best as I could. While this is gray and it matches that, and again, the light piping is a little brighter. So far, so good. I kind of like the United version second best, a strong second best, but if you ask me, I just prefer this one because of that more shiny, more brighter look. Now let's get all of them standing in a row. All of the sound waves here. And there they go. Give me one moment here to get them ready. And then we'll get the tapes off. That's a perfect shot. Let's let that ride. Let's let that ride. Let's let that ride. Let's let that ride. All right. And yeah, that's everything there. And we'll go ahead and do the final thoughts here. I'll just compare them with Studio Series 86 Blaster as a bonus, and then we'll be right back. And then we'll sum it up in 2 and 2. All right, we're back by YouTube Magic, and I just wanted to show off Blaster next to the United Soundwave real quick, because I really didn't do that. And like I said, Blaster is just a tad bit bigger. As you can see here, they do look good together. And then we'll go ahead and just set the camera down for a second, just so I can get a more bird's eye view. We're about 24 seconds. We'll stop at about 30. I think this is a good shot. And we'll go ahead and do the final thoughts right now. So here are my final thoughts. If you don't have a G1 version of the Netflix Soundwave mold, this is the one to pick up. The tolerances, like I said, they're the same as the bridge version, so keep that in mind. However, I would not go out and buy like the Netflix version because of the fact that it could yellow, and there's no rhyme or reason. Some people's aren't yellowing. You might stand a chance because of the fact that, you know, you can get Laserbeak at least. But I would go with this for the simple fact that, you know, yes, Rumble may not have the correct animation colors, but this is a very good looking Rumble. You get Buzzsaw and you get Ravage, and I do like Ravage in this more all black motif than I do the other one, even though it may not be animation accurate. These may be more toy accurate, but yeah, if I didn't have the Rumble and all of them, I would be happy with this set. The fact that the paint on the door is uniform, that's a plus. He has the correct red stripe. Now, he doesn't have a lot of paint apps. He is a little duller than the bridge. But to me, he is a lot better than the Netflix for the fact that this one should not yellow. The arms are still built incorrectly, just like the bridge version, where the arms are kind of off here. The only one that's correct is the Netflix version. The Netflix version has better tolerances. For starters, the best light piping goes to the Netflix version, but remember, the Netflix version's cannons and gun do not have red stripes on them at all. You're either going to have to paint them yourself, repro labels, or if you have a Siege version, but you can get the Siege version, or you can get the Legacy Siege version where it's all cleaned up and use that if you want. You can also swap the arms. So you can have the red stripe because you can just pull them off on the back right here. Should you get the bridge set? All right, here's the thing. The bridge set is still $109 as I last checked. I think it's still available on Hasbro Pulse. $109 for a beautifully painted Soundwave with a Laserbeak. Definitely need a Laserbeak. Now, this is the dilemma. If you need 2 of what's in the bridge set, this is the only time I would say probably you want to have 2 Soundwaves. Why? The reason you want to have 2 Soundwaves is because the only way you're going to get Laserbeak, that is, you know, the correct version of Laserbeak, you're either going to have to buy the Siege version, which has the more, you know, trying to make him look like the original Cybertronian version of the G1 episode of More Than Meets the Eye, or you can buy the Netflix version if the price continues to drop on that. If the price continues to drop on that set, then yeah, I would just go for maybe picking that up. If you're really not caring about Laserbeak, and you like, look, I just need a Soundwave with 3 cassettes at the price of about $60. Yeah, you're probably going to go with this. You know what I'm saying? And I know it sucks. I mean, it does suck. It does suck. Another thing I want to say is this mold is 3 years too late. And Hasbro, you really got to be a little bit more careful. Is it all about the greed or is it about the consumer? You know, when you send these figures that we need to these places, we can't get them. There's always some type of weird distribution issue. I can honestly say, if you do not have this mold and you were looking at spending to get the Netflix version, I would not buy the Netflix version simply because of the yellowing. That's not a good investment when you know a lot of people have that issue with that Soundwave. So this is a better investment. Yes, it costs more. You get 1 more cassette, that the Netflix version didn't have. You know, I hate it. I can't really, the cost I can't justify. I can justify if you're getting it for your collection, but the cost is just, it makes you feel some type of way. But, you know, if we're going to go through all that, the average price of a Voyager is what, for $30 to $40 these days. Okay, let's say, I don't know, 35, something like that. I don't know. If you had to buy all 3 cassettes, you're talking about $9.99. Now that they're selling them separately, the cheapest they are should be $9.99. These actually came in a 2-pack in their Siege versions, which are not really much different. And I think they were like, what, $20 or something like that. So yeah, it works out, man. It works out. So, you know, I'm not going to go into the price. I'm just going to go into the need and getting one where you don't have to worry about, oh, is it going to turn yellow? So far, so good from what we know, because, you know, this is supposed to be during the pandemic. This should be okay. So that's my thoughts, man. I honestly think you're doing yourself a favor, even if you do have Soundwave, still get this for the simple fact that, I mean, you get this guy alone, and you just get these new decos. You can never go on with enough cassettes because you know how fast these sell out. So just go ahead and get it. Just pick it up. That's it. Just pick it up. That's it. That's all I got to say. Super Robot Ed, bring more news reviews to them. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.